Hey, welcome back to Of the Devil. It's me, Cheesy, and we're at the courthouse, and I don't know what that's like, so very exciting. It's 10 to 5, according to this clock, and I don't know what that means, so here we go. Oh, you know what? I forgot to say the thing. Things are quieter than I expected here at the courthouse. Am I right? Though I've always felt courthouse is a bit of a misnomer. Oh, okay. Oh, what is this? This is not a courthouse. This is weird. Government building is probably the best way to describe these towers. All-encompassing and impenetrably vague. 100 floors of officials and documents and paper-pushing queues. With a couple dozen courtrooms squeezed in along the way. Didn't think I'd be arguing in court when I woke up today. Hell yeah. Didn't think that my friend would be dead, or that he'd have thrust an android into my lap, either. I could just walk in there and concede. Emma would be irritated, and more than a little confused, but I could play it off as an exercise in grief. The android would complain, loudly, of course, but I wouldn't have to listen to it. Now that it is registered in my name, I could probably just order the damn thing to reset its memory. But I haven't done that. And I guess I don't plan to. Why? Must be because I have my suspicions as well. Sarah insists that David would never commit suicide, and I haven't actually stopped to ask myself whether or not I agree. David was rational, subdued, private, hard on himself, and not prone to emotional outbursts. So maybe that's why I'm finding myself outside a courtroom, prepared to humor an ADD's suspicions before the state. Because I don't really believe David killed himself either. What's your progress bar at? I can confirm that I'm making progress. Well, shit, let's not get ahead of ourselves. But it'd be difficult to summarize that progress in terms of a completion percent. Give it your best shot anyway. 4%. Are you feeling confident in your case? Markedly less so after hearing that. Do you think the judge will be amenable to your argument? What are you talking about? Do you know the judge we've been assigned? Are they particularly lenient or strict? Adjutants are always a coin flip, so... You do know what adjutant is, don't you? Are you expecting to see a bearded old man with a robe and a gavel when we get in there? Should I not? Adjutants are android judges, okay? With all the authority that it entails. Adjutants are automated dependents that... I forgot I got this little fun charm. Yay! They preside over the trials for the state, while most adjutants are designed and sold as software and then loaded onto the courthouse-specific hardware, including android bodies. They can interpret trial proceedings and render judgment based entirely on stenographer records if they need be, ruling on cases in an entirely digital capacity. Reviews of adjutants by third parties are shown that they are overwhelmingly more equitable and even-handed in their sentencing than human judges. Because they cannot be bribed or intimidated, adjutants are especially preferred. Adjutants or adjutants? I don't know. Especially preferred for cases involving organized crime and corporate misconduct. I see. Adjutants use the ninefold personality engram for rendering their judgments and building consensus, known as the nonary system among software engineers. Nonary system? I guess it's a ninefold personality engram. That makes sense. Because each of these 9 personas are constructed by different think tank or institution from across the political spectrum, ideological contamination in adjutant units is practically impossible. There have been small number of reported cases where nonary processing has borne particularly enthusiastic or eccentric personas, presumably in an unorthodox, if not effective, attempt to reconcile particularly disparate opinions across the 9 constituent personalities with a single authoritative, loud voice. With the state's court backlog essentially cleared for the past half-decade, questions arose as to the continued need for adjutants to lighten the judicial system's human resource burden, but Senate Investigative Committee 74JD91 determined that removing adjutants from the illegal system would be prohibitively expensive at this point. Very fair. All right. Judges with all the authority entails. I am surprised to hear that people are willing to accept rulings made by automated dependents. Rulings come from landmark cases in the higher courts. Those are passed down by actual judges, real people with decades of study and experience. But not every eviction case or traffic ticket that ends up in court requires years of legal expertise. Sometimes all you need is a referee and a sentencing algorithm. So, androids are used to reduce caseload. Been that way for decades. But how was the law that replaced judges ever enforced? Wouldn't there be injunctions, stalling? Judges did fight it for years at every level and in every theater. But the public lost their patience for that kind of obstruction during the 60s. The state needed to shred budgets across the board, and so judges that couldn't be replaced by years of legal battles were instead ushered into early retirement by the unrelenting force of our great nation's accountants. And it's not controversial having machines determine sentencing for human beings. Whatever controversy there is, it gets aimed at machines, not the people who put them there. And the machines can't lose sleep over it. Besides, it used to be that even the most high profile of crimes wouldn't get a court date until weeks or months later. Nowadays, most crimes are prosecuted within a single business week. And that's not rushing things. Keeps people in my line of work on their toes, that's for sure. I'm just surprised to hear that there's so much haste. Don't they teach you about classical conditioning in android school? You gotta feed the dog immediately after you ring the bell. If punishment doesn't follow the crime in quick succession, the lesson doesn't stick. I see. But if Juden's so effective, why aren't they used in every trial? Why aren't they used in politics? That's a logical question to ask. And the answer is, that logic only gets you so far when it comes to people. Doesn't everyone want the courts to be just as possible? If adjutants are truly impartial and incorruptible, everyone wants justice, sure, but there are other considerations to be had, such as disgust. Greed, I guess. What? That's all people really care about, what their moral boils down to. Just what they do or don't find disgusting. The only problem is, everything's more palatable when viewed through a screen. So when everyone sees the world through AR and cameras and no one ever gets dirt under their fingernails, you'd be surprised what you can get away with. I don't understand. Yeah, well, therein lies the problem. Damn. We're at the courthouse. Does this mean I get to gamble? Oh yeah, quick heads up. I turned on the tutorial because I don't know how the court works, actually. So I just kind of turned it on and I kind of looked over my evidence ahead of time. I kind of always do that before I do any kind of court case type of game or murder mystery question stuff. So I guess that's what I'm up to. Courtroom 48D. Oh, it's Emma. Just a preliminary hearing, huh? You wouldn't know it just from the look on her face. But I shouldn't have expected any leeway once we stepped into the courtroom. Not with her. That's the adjutant up there? Adjutant? Adjutant. Is it asleep? It's loading. It needs to load. Don't be rude, not every ADD can afford to be decked out as extravagantly as you. Especially not those in the state. Buys in bulk. Not those the state buys in bulk. There's an audience. You mean the gallery? That's nothing. Could have been a lot worse. Word of any trial in the case of David Escher's death must spread like wildfire. Even a mock trial like this one. Detectives like Reyes or London would get chewed out for leaking things to the press. But uninformed officers had little to lose and a lot to gain by dropping a text to their attentive friends in the media. And then there's the corporate plants. Interns, usually, preferably ones with modded eyes. It's illegal to film inside a courtroom, but this is the year 2086. Things are gonna get out one way or another. I don't like having my face on camera. I don't like the attention in general. But I'm not such a coward that I'd skip David's funeral just because there'd be paparazzi outside of it. My pretty little likeness was going to end up in the background of some tabloid photograph one way or another by the end of this circus. At least this way, it's decent marketing for my legal services. What will happen once the adjutant finishes loading? How will the trial proceed? With all those films you watch, I'd figure that you could extrapolate. I'm asking so as to correct any misconceptions. Well, not everything you saw on the silver screen is outdated. The court will come to order, and there will be a clarification of the charges. Defense enters a plea, and if it's not guilty, the prosecution begins making their case. That means calling witnesses to the stand, correct? Mostly. Sometimes they'll testify virtually from a separate location. Depends on the security concerns surrounding the particular individual and the case. What do you do then? Sit there and watch? Not if I want to get paid. I cross-examine witnesses after the prosecution are done questioning them. I can present evidence or witnesses of my own in response, as long as I have discovery backing me. You said that before. Discovery means just that I can't pull stuff out of my pockets and present it without any kind of context. I have to have proof that I acquired it legally during the course of my investigation. Most of the time, that means having recordings or witnesses that can verify my investigation, which I can provide. You didn't think I was letting you tag along because I liked you, did you? And the jury? I don't see where they would sit. The jury hasn't sat in the actual courtroom for years now. They have their own chambers, where they watch a feed of the trial's proceedings in anonymity. And that's not an issue? Don't people want to look someone in the eye before passing judgment on them? You've got an old-fashioned sense of justice, don't you? But there's no jury at a preliminary hearing anyway. It's only meant to evaluate whether or not the prosecution has enough evidence to go to trial. A mere formality in today's day and age. With tools like optics and arcs, there's never any shortage of evidence to work with. So all you have to do today is convince the adjutant. Easier said than done. Adjutants are lean heavily towards evidence over arguments. And right now, all the evidence suggests that David killed himself. If it's going to be an uphill battle, I can't afford to stumble. I need to focus on establishing an alternate interpretation of the facts, and it needs to be solid. But I don't have a suspect, or even a motive for killing David, yet. Anyway, I'll need to be sharp. Emma doesn't play nice enough for me to be anything else. Anything less. I think it's waking up. This third lower court is now in session. Adjutant AD 84 presiding. They call to order the case of the people versus Assure. Do the people wish to make an opening statement? No, Your Honor. No point in bothering when it's just an adjutant here. Very well. Do the defense wish to make an opening statement? Not at this time, Your Honor. Might as well ring the bell and get this shit show started. If neither the people nor the defense wish to make an opening statement, then it falls to me to set the stage. Why are you saying it like that? Oh. My model name is Adjutant. My unit designation code is AD-84. I am a machine, an automated dependent, and I serve the state by presiding over trials. You might find yourself wondering, why? What gives a machine the right to judge a human? A fair question, but the answer is simple. In every culture, in every society, no matter how it is worshipped, enshrined, or deified, justice has one defining quality. Justice is beautiful. Like a balanced equation, like a golden ratio, like the Vitruvian man, justice is beautiful. So what gives me the right? This gorgeous bod. Okay, well, I guess she's wacky. Whatever, forget it. Forget I said anything. I was trying to lighten the mood, but I can see everyone hates me. All right. I guess that's what happens when you have like 9 personalities in you. Do the trial without me. They're guilty, or whatever. Your Honor. Wait, what the flip? The defendant's already dead. Why are we doing this? She's picking her nose. Is this a debug thing? Because I'll log the error if I need to. No, Your Honor. This is a preliminary hearing to determine whether David Asher did, in fact, commit suicide, as he... I get it. You want to make sure he wasn't cuckoo in the cranium before you cut up his will like a T-bone. I didn't realize that adjutants were so lively. They aren't. They're supposed to be austere and statuesque. Looks like we got served the most in need of repairs adjutant the court systems could find. Whatever paper pusher we rushed to get this trial going must have wanted a little payback for the kindness. What's that look for? Could it be your trying to size me up? Wouldn't dream of it, Your Honor. Good, because if you have any doubts about my ability to run this trial, I could always just enact summary judgment here and now. I'm sure you'll find my ruling to be fair and even-handed. That won't be necessary, Your Honor. She's much more of a character than I'm used to seeing up there, even counting all the flesh and blood judges I've met. But she's still just an adjutant. She'll follow evidence where it leads. Hell yeah. As long as we can make a few adjustments for the occasion. Outburst from the bench. My plan's still workable. So, people, shall we get started with that first witness? Right away, Your Honor. The people called Dr. Yumi Sato to the stand. Hey, Yumi. It's Yumi. Hey. So, how about it, pretty lady? You swear to tell the whole and unadulterated truth to the best of your ability? I do. Good enough for me. Dr. Sato, you were in charge of the autopsy for David Asher, were you not? I was. And when did you make your examination? I started last night. Well, technically, 1 a.m. would be very early this morning. I think you could still say last night if you're talking about 1 in the morning. Objection. Oh, okay. The defense will have their opportunity to cross-examine until then. They should refrain from making errant remarks. The hell? All I said was... Yeah, what she said. You mean sustained? Don't get cute with me, counselor. Wait, what? Why am I punished? Be cute is my job. God damn, we've barely gotten started. That seemed pretty bad, Adonai. Making mistakes will increase your blind. Oh. Blind is how much credit you'll lose for answering incorrectly when you yourself aren't controlling the ante. Blind increments on its own throughout the trial as the stakes get higher, but resets at the end of each day. Blind starts at and caps out at a higher number if you're playing in a high roller. Mind the blind number in the top left when it appears. It helps you gauge what you stand to lose. All right, I'm glad I turned on the tutorial because I'm like, I would have not known that. We should try to avoid being penalized in the future. Thanks for the tip. Shake it off. I'll get my chance to raise objections of my own soon enough. Dr. Sato, were you able to determine the cause of death? He passed away due to respiratory failure. Could you explain what that means to the court? Essentially, he wasn't getting enough oxygen into his blood. It seemed by the time he arrived at the hospital, he was no longer breathing. What does respiratory failure look like? What are the symptoms? There would be lightheadedness, dizziness, fainting, pale skin, a bluish tinge around certain extremities, and the condition he was in matched those symptoms? Correct. In your experience, what are the most common causes of respiratory failure? It can be caused by injury or disease, but the subject had no wounds or reported illnesses and otherwise appeared to be perfectly healthy. And what else could cause respiratory failure then? It is also commonly seen in fatal drug overdoses. Drug overdoses. Did you perform a tox screen on Dr. Asher? Yes, but his tox screen came back clean. No, it didn't. No, it did not come back clean. Where are we here? Aha! Unknown substance detected in bloodstream approximately 18 to 20 milligrams total. Okay, well. All right. I don't know why it's crossed out, though. That I have to figure out, I guess. Yes, but his sauce, yeah, it came back clean. Whatever killed him, it wasn't something we encountered before. Wait, a clean talk screen? Clean? That will proceed automatically during testimony, but you can still choose to advance text manually with continue. Okay. You need to read carefully and wait for the witness to make a statement that sounds wrong. Then hit the call button to call their bluff. Hover over the call button to toggle on Insight to focus on the claims within a witness statement. Insight can be disabled in settings. All right. Testimony will loop until you call. Okay. It's kind of like Danganronpa and Ace Attorney. Can't let this chance slip by. I need to catch her mistake the second it comes out of her mouth. Okay. Whiskey. David's contract. Upright cup. Wait, what about his autopsy report? Unless, wait. When they say clean, do they mean like from stuff they already know about? Yeah, we'll see. Upright cup. All right. Oh, cool. Whoa. He's not getting enough oxygen. Whoa. He would have experienced lightheadedness, dizzying, and then fainting. The subject was healthy in their respiratory failure and must be attributed to a drug overdose. Wait. When a talk screen was run by the hospital, it came back clean. No, it's not this. After choosing to call on a statement, you need to respond with evidence. Look over the 3 cards that show up and confirm your card before timer runs out. There's a timer? Aw, man. All right. Talk screen. Upright. Whiskey. Whiskey. Wanna bet? Yeah, I hit you right in the face, Emma. It's impossible for David Assure's talk screen to be clean, and we all know it. Since he was on camera drinking alcohol the night that he died. That's right. This incredibly irrelevant piece of information has helped me. Ah! That makes sense. And that scared you? The witness merely misspoke, Your Honor. It plainly states on the tox report itself Dr. Assure did have alcohol in his blood, but not at such a concentration as to be lethal. Yeah, my bad. When I said the tox screen was clean, I just meant I didn't tell the attending physicians anything they didn't already know. Overall, a little more nitpicky than I'd like to be, but at least I was able to balance the momentum, more or less. Shall we continue, Dr. Sato? If the tox screens were negative for pharmaceuticals and drugs, what caused Dr. Assure's respiratory failure? During my autopsy, I analyzed his blood and was able to isolate a foreign compound. So there was a lethal dose of a drug inside his body. It just happened to be a drug that the hospital had never encountered before. That's correct. I think we're all going to get pretty tired pretty fast if we don't at least pick a placeholder name for this substance, Your Honor. The people don't object, Your Honor. In that case, I'll put all my creative heuristics to work coming up with an original scientific fitting name for this substance. A name like Omega. I think that's already... Omega-3. All right. Well, I see. That name is already taken. Fine, call it Delta or whatever. Delta, used in science to denote an unknown variable. Not bad. Delta has other meanings when it comes to drugs, but yeah, our Delta matches no known public pharmacology or toxicology records. That being said, chemically, it does have all the hallmarks of a general depressant. I know the feeling. So it stands to reason that it would exhibit a similar effect on the body when ingested. You say ingested. Why? I eliminated all other possibilities during my examination of the body. He must have swallowed it, and judging by his stomach contents, it must have been a liquid. Thank you, Dr. Sato. Shall I summarize things for the court? Yes, please. I wasn't listening that closely. The victim died of respiratory failure, and his talk screens showed that his blood was clear of anything that could cause respiratory failure, except for this unknown substance, the poison we've labeled Delta. That sounds like a textbook suicide. Should we wrap it up here? Not quite yet, Your Honor. This may clearly be a poisoning, but there's at least one detail about this case that doesn't feel like a suicide at all. Died from respiratory failure? No. Oh, Young's testimony. Yeah, it was weird that he drank alcohol. No, I guess it is the fact that we had a witness. The people shouldn't get ahead of themselves. There's nothing textbook about a supposed suicide that had a witness sitting there watching it happen. As you say. Well, now I'm lost. Was this poisoning a suicide or not? If that's the case, then perhaps we should give the defense the opportunity to cross-examine, unless they're going to insist on testifying themselves. How kind of you to offer. Ball's in my court now, so how do I counter? Emma's argument basically goes as follows. David ingested the Delta knowingly, and the Delta caused his respiratory failure. He died of respiratory failure, thus David committed suicide. It's like blackjack. Oh, okay. During blackjack, every piece of information you learn deals you a card. Okay. Choose only the questions that are logical and relevant, and only press if you think the line of questioning is worth continuing. Okay. Or else you'll go bust and lose credit. Select the press option to see what the follow-up question would be. You can only win blackjack when you reach exactly 21. So don't press further if you're already there. Don't ask the wrong questions. Okay. Okay. With my cross-examination, I need to put a microscope over the weakest part of that argument and hope some of that cracks appear under pressure. Definitely not that, because I think everyone can agree that it was respiratory failure. Are you sure Delta is to blame? Dr. Sato, you're only able to identify the presence of this Delta after hours of work. Can you really be sure that this never-before-seen chemical can cause respiratory failure? Well, I've had time to run simulations, and they do give every indication that it would act as a depressant. Ingest enough of the depressant, and respiratory failure would occur. Only simulations? Yeah, only simulations? Oh, so you ran simulations, so you haven't tested Delta on an actual person. No, I haven't. That would be very difficult to do given our extremely limited sample. Not to mention highly unethical, of course. But without such a test, you don't actually know for sure that Delta can cause any of the symptoms you've described. Was there a question in that statement, counselor? You don't actually know for sure, do you? No, not yet, anyway. Are you sure it was ingested, I guess? When they say ingested, do they mean like drinking it? So maybe they could like snort salt. Or maybe David put it in his butt. You never know. You never know what people do. All right. Dr. Sato, you said the subject had to have ingested the Delta orally. But how sure can we actually be about that? Pretty sure? I mean, I could go into detail about the cavities that I checked, but... was it knowingly ingested? I guess so. But how can we how sure can we be that the subject ingested the Delta knowingly? Well, we can't be sure of that. Certainly not just from an autopsy. You said it must have been a liquid, yes? Would it have been a large amount? It depends on the concentration of the delivery solution. Could have been just a drop. The kind of thing that could easily go unnoticed, yes. Calls for speculation, Your Honor. Withdrawn. Aw, man, I wanted to jump on her case. Seems like that's... Whoa! It's Blackjack! Hell yeah! Thank you for your time, Dr. Sato. We all appreciate it. But it does seem like we're still in the dark about many details regarding Dr. Asher's death, wouldn't you say? Well, poisoning via compound we're calling Delta is still the most likely explanation. So there are other explanations for what happened. Defense is calling for speculation, Your Honor. It's not speculation when a medical examiner is attempting to explain the cause of death, Your Honor. The witness will answer the question. Well, respiratory failure can be caused by illnesses. If he had undiagnosed pneumonia or some other disease and his respiratory system was weakened, undiagnosed pneumonia with his level of healthcare, it is technically possible. I'll take it. I have no more questions for this witness. Ugh, that felt weak, but I can't be picky when I'm stalling for time. Seeding doubt wherever I can, however I can, is just all I can manage. Yeah. Detective Reyes, you're one of the leads in investigating this crime scene. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. I'm glad she's back. And did you interview the EMTs who arrived on the scene? I did. They responded to an emergency signal from the home security console, located in the kitchen. What did they find when they arrived on the scene? The victim was unconscious, on the floor of his parlor. He was receiving CPR from a witness, the individual who had called them. They were both airlifted to the Gatesfield Memorial Hospital, and Dr. Asher was declared dead shortly after arriving there. She's actually handling herself pretty well up on the stand. I half expected her to roll her eyes during the swearing-in. When you take into consideration her love for boot-heel authority, she might be right at home here in the courtroom, the very seat of the state's power over the people. The witness met with the deceased about a half hour before he fell ill from 7:30 to 8. The two of them talked for some time and shared a drink. Shortly after, Dr. Asher became distracted, lightheaded, and eventually non-responsive. During the same time period, drinking the same liquor, this witness exhibited no symptoms themselves. None. Through a collaborative effort with Noble Electronic Security Division, we searched the entire building. But when we found nothing unusual in any of the food or drink on the premises, including the bottle that the witness and the deceased drank from. So what was your ultimate conclusion investigating the scene? The whiskey bottle was clean, the witness's drink was clean. Only person who got sick was Dr. Asher, drinking from a cup he had prepared. So it was our determination that David Asher committed suicide by poisoning himself. She's pretty tight-lipped up there, but I think she slipped up at least once. The police want to claim they've eliminated every other possibility and covered every angle. But I know that there are a number of blind spots that they're not willing to admit to. Oh, okay. Upright cup. David's cup. Poison. All right. Let's do this. Met with the witnesses at 7:30 last night. That's fine. He's the one who prepared their drinks. That's fine. And there was no opportunity for the witnesses. I don't know about that. He drank from a cup that he himself poisoned. No. Yeah, I don't think they can come to that conclusion, can they? Seems pretty cut and dry if you ask me. Just to be sure, we scanned the kitchen, lab, and basement, I guess. And there was no poison anywhere else. Okay. She slipped up and made a claim she can't actually support. All you need to do is point it out and then get to watch her self-destruct, which should be fun. All right. Just quickly. There we go. Wait, that's the wrong one. Where's David's cup? Forensic analysis shows matches for his fingerprints and saliva. But toxicology tests have proven inconclusive. Too much of a whiskey was drunk and or evaporated. You think David was trying to kill his friend? I doubt it, but it would have been very interesting if that was the case. Let's see. Which whiskey drunk, evaporated? Would it be David's cup? It doesn't prove anything. Yeah, let me try this. Wait, let me try something. No, not that. No poison anywhere else. Ha! Inconclusive stuff with David's cup. Oh yeah, there's a time limit. What a bet! Oh. Oh no. You almost... That's cute, counselor. You almost made a salient point. Do I get points for that? Boy, I hope not. Otherwise, I wouldn't get to do this. Overruled. Ow. What the F? I need to make objections more carefully then. Okay. Poison. No, it's not the poison itself. Is it the cup? Is it because they said David prepared it? No, not that. Oh, that he himself poisoned. Here. Inconclusive, baby. Okay, so that's what made more sense. Okay, I'm getting used to the logic. I'm getting used to the logic. You can't make that claim, not when the evidence record clearly shows that tests of Dr. Usher's cup were inconclusive. The police can't claim he drank from a poisoned cup without first proving that his cup was, in fact, poisoned. You're talking a lot of sense, lady. Does it resolve? Or do you have a response, D.A. Rockford? Testing on the deceased cup has been inconclusive so far, Your Honor. I don't dispute that. Though I'd be surprised if the defense has any idea how else the poison could have possibly been delivered to Dr. Usher alone. Not at this time, but that's the funny thing about burden of proof. It's not on the defense. As we're all aware. Right, we all knew that. I definitely knew that. She's playing like a PSP. Now that the people are done bemoaning that pesky innocent until proven guilty issue, perhaps I could begin my cross-examination. Fire away, baby. Fire away? Baby? No, this is the correct way to do things. Fire away, baby! Reyes' testimony is meant to show that David is the only one who could have poisoned himself. She'll be on guard and hard set against helping me, but if I keep her focus on eliminating other possibilities, I could get her to make my point for me before she even realizes what's happened. No, that's a good question. What should I go for? Anyone else in the building? The only people you saw on the camera that night were Dr. Usher and his witness, correct? Yeah, there was no footage in the house of anyone else. Are there any parts of the house that aren't recorded by camera? Sure. There's a number of rooms in the home's interior that don't have cameras in them. So it's possible that there were other people there that night because cameras weren't watching every room. No, that's not possible. The only way up the penthouse is through the building's elevator or fire escape stairs, both of which are on camera. And that still wouldn't get you past his front door, which is also on camera. No one besides the two of them was there that day. What about before that day? No. No, that's not relevant. Okay. Well, I wasn't hurt by it. I got a card. No, we didn't get that. Detective, isn't it possible that Dr. Usher was poisoned off camera? Possible. I don't know how else it would have been done. But that just goes to show it had to have been suicide. The only time he was off camera He was all by himself. Ouch. Okay, never mind. Shit, that's not where I wanted to lead the conversation. Might certainly seem that way, yes. Oh, am I supposed to say ever seen... Okay. Detective, we've been doing a lot of assuming and reasoning in quick succession, so I'll ask this plainly for the court. Is there any photographic evidence showing David Usher added anything to his drink that night? No. Seems like he already poured for both of them by the time he returned to the parlor. He had already poured. In that case, the next question needs to be when and what. Ah, any poison in the kitchen? Detective Reyes, during the course of your investigation, did you find any samples of Delta in the kitchen or parlor? No. That was a fast answer. Well, it was a pretty easy question. And if we had found poison in the scene of the crime, that'd be pretty important, don't you think? What about his lab, his bedroom, his basement? No, no, and no. We didn't find the Delta or any other unusual substance in any part of his penthouse. Right, and they never found any poison. No poison at all. Was that mean? Oh, like maybe he had something like a bottle? Bottle. At any point in the investigation, was poison found in the body of the deceased? I hope so. No? He must have been searched. Did he have any capsules or vials, eyedroppers? Didn't even have his wallet on him. Why? Thank you for enlightening the court about this point, Detective. What point? Well, I think it's strange, don't you, Detective? I mean, how could he have possibly poisoned himself without first procuring some poison? Oh yeah, blackjack, baby! What do you mean, procure? Where did it come from, Detective? The poison that you're so sure was dissolved in his drink. It can't have come from thin air, you understand? It had to have been another container at some point. Whatever it was in before, it probably evaporated. All of it, and only took a small droplet to kill. Your Honor, are you going to ask them to keep it civil? In a minute, sure. What, are you enjoying this? Where there wasn't any pill bottle in this bathroom or syringe in his pocket containing this apparently deadly substance. So how did he get it? What did he keep it in? The police want to claim that Dr. Usher committed suicide because they established that his guest never had an opportunity to kill him. But they failed to prove that the victim had the means to kill himself. Then I guess I'll be the one to move things along. The Delta didn't come out of thin air, counselor. Oh, shit. It didn't come from a syringe, either. Dr. Usher was able to drip the poison right into his cup. Straight from the source. Shit, that's way too specific to be a bluff. Okay. Allow me to submit into evidence Exhibit G. Piece of machinery found in Dr. Usher's laboratory. Oh, it's that thing. Sold under the product name Nanofacturer. Oh, I know this one. It's used in delicate scientific work to produce nanomachines, chemical compounds, and polymers. That's the same machine I saw when Dawes gave me a tour of production floor. Very good, Your Honor. It's a valuable tool in any scientific laboratory, and Dr. Usher was well acquainted with its use. As a matter of fact, he had a number of presets coded into it. Even the android can see where this is going. With just a few taps, he can produce any number of specific substances for his research, or any other chemical his heart desired, really. You think Randoc Mechanics would allow their product to be used to produce illicit chemicals? Using the Nanofacturer to make unlicensed drugs does go against their terms and conditions, so Dr. Usher's warranty is certainly null and void. But they can't hard code their machines to prevent production of a drug that hasn't been invented yet. That's... Dr. Usher died when his respiratory system failed because of a depressant overdose. For him, it would have been peaceful, like falling asleep. You see, he didn't need to commission a synthetic drug from some street vendor, or order an exotic poison from overseas. He could produce Delta at any time, in the comfort of his own home. A quick and painless death, readily available under a minute, at the touch of a button. Specifically, preset number 19. Damn. I thought I actually had something for a moment there, but I was playing into Emma's hand the entire time. Seems like we're done with this witness, Your Honor. Yes, ma'am. But before we move on, perhaps we should take a moment and put together a timeline of events as we know them. Not for me, of course, just in case someone else might need it. Simple enough. We know that Dr. Asher left the parlor and went down to the basement at 7:36. Ooh, some time clicking. That's where he got the whiskey. And the cups they drank from. Okay. The cameras show him returning to the parlor to drink with the witness at 7:40 p.m. I do like that they put all the evidence in the same spot. That's pretty cool. And of course, we know that he fell ill and passed away shortly after. Any objections so far, Counselor? No, it's right. Not this time, no. Not at this time, no. The timeline you described is accurate, as we know it. As you say. With this latest piece of evidence, we now know that Asher could have easily dispensed the poison directly into his cup. By placing it inside the nanofactor, activating the preset, and simply waiting 2 minutes. Easily accomplished during the 4 minutes he spent off-camera from 7:36 to 7:40. Wouldn't you say? Ooh, a complete timeline of events. He had the means, he had the only opportunity. Seems like we're about ready to wrap it up here, no? Where are we on that loading bar of yours, Sarah? Adonai, I had a feeling you'd say that. Well, Counselor, are we done here? His argument's foolproof. No. He had a call. And he had a call with a guy. Feels like we're missing at least one biggie here, folks. Namely, motive. Okay, that's not exactly where I was going at, but yeah. All right, I knew that. I wasn't getting excited to finish early or anything. This is a preliminary hearing, Counselor. Our focus should be on the evidence, so just feels like an awful waste of taxpayer dollars to just get us all down here for debate and not get to the truth of the matter, you know? So, I was hoping we wouldn't have to go through this next part. Uh-oh. What are you talking about? Your Honor, if it pleases the court. Ooh, new evidence. Gimme. This is a recording of a phone. Oh, okay, never mind. This is going against what we're supposed to do. This is motive. Okay, dated at 6:30 p.m. last night between deceased and a man he was in a relationship with. Ah, yes, it's Isaac. A man named Isaac Porter. Porter and David's breakup call? If Emma wants to present it here now, then the content must be relevant, Your Honor. Yeah, what bearing does this recording have on the case at hand? It establishes what emotional state the deceased was on the day he died. Shit. Cool, begin playback. All right, gonna get a big sad one. Hello? Jeez. Always so soft-spoken. Isaac, you there? Yeah, I'm here. What's wrong? Don't know. I guess I wasn't expecting you to pick up. Why not? Did you mean to call me? Yeah, I did. You gonna ask me how I've been? Yeah. How have you been? Christ, David. What's the matter? Whatever I did, I'm sorry. Whatever you did? That's all right, man. I'm sure you are sorry. I just don't want any more apologies from you. I'm sorry. Okay. And I don't think I want anything from you anymore, David. What do you mean? I shouldn't have done this. This was unnecessary. My bad, man. For not taking the hints. With you, it's always better left unsaid, right? More efficient that way, so you can keep working. Isaac, if I've been distant with you, or... Nah, you haven't been distant with me, or cold with me, or anything with me for a while now. Isaac, just forget it, man. Forget I called. Forget it all, yeah? Let's just forget we were ever anything but strangers. That's all we are now, anyway. Isaac, recently, I've been distracted, I know. Nah, don't worry about it. Really, we're good. Oh, okay. So, do you need anything, or should I... Where did you even get this? All of Dr. Usher's incoming and outgoing phone calls were recorded by the building's penumbra system, and the recording continued for several seconds after each call was ended for quality assurance. Remind me to check the terms and conditions on my next phone bill. Would I look up? Oh yeah, I forgot. I got this little charm thingy here. Which is pretty fun. Did we get the call? Recorded calls. All phone calls received or made from inside the noble executive apartment building that David Usher lived in are automatically intercepted and recorded by the building's penumbra security system. This is common knowledge among noble employees living in the facility. Fair. Sucks, but fair. Shall we hear the rest? Gotta be the last time. The last time I let someone... The last time. Father. It might be just a call, but it makes for pretty damning evidence at this point in the discussion. Yeah. Yeah, that's not cool. Alright. Emma's got her means, opportunity, and motive all lined up. So why is she looking at me like that? That was depressing. Can we finish up without anything else that horrible? Emma's never been apologetic in victory. So, does that mean this is just pity? I'm mad with my psycho brain. Less than 2 hours before Dr. Usher died, Isaac Porter ended their relationship over the phone. The court can make reasonable assumption about what kind of mental state Dr. Usher was in last night. That was a bad move, Miss Rockford. What was a bad move? Then if the people have nothing further to add, I've been feeling off my game all day, caught between corporate inbreeders and ant-brain protesters but pitying me? Here and now? Oh, my ego. That's all it takes to get my blood properly boiling. It's about time for me to call my first witness, no? You want to keep going after that? What are you doing, counselor? Just calling the ultimate silver bullet, rock solid slam dunk witness a girl could ask for? Who's that? Ah, it's Jess. Miss Starling. That's it. I do like her name. Is here good? Doesn't matter where I put my hands. Miss Starling, thank you for coming here today. Of course, whatever I can do. What's your relation to the deceased? I was his executive assistant at Noble Electronics. I would arrange his meetings, coordinate communications between him and other departments. What sort of thing? That sort of thing? Ultimate silver bullet? Starling's the only play I have right now, the only stalling tool I have left. For now, I should just focus on getting as much information from her as possible. Whether or not it's useful, it'll at least buy me some time. While Jess was being sworn in, Sarah mentioned that the hard drive's about 60% decrypted. Considering the rate Sarah's gone at so far, there's maybe another hour left. I might be able to stall that long, if I talk real slow. I'd like to ask you a few questions about Dr. Usher. Please answer them to the best of your ability. Right. Dr. Usher was a well-known public figure, but was he well regarded professionally? Of course. Dr. Usher's work set the bar for the entire automated dependent world. Stay focused, Spearmint. You say you coordinated his communications. Were there ever threats? Did people ever express an intent to harm him? Objection calls for speculation. Intent. I'm feeling like that's going to be sustained. Did anyone ever threaten him? There were times when he was the focus of negative attention. How so? Dr. Usher was a favorite subject of many conspiracy theorists. With all his contributions to the field, it was easy for them to make claims about his influence. They'd say that his work was plagiarized or that he was hiding illegal subcommands in the technology he helped develop. And people would contact him about these conspiracy theories, relevance, whether or not people wanted to kill him. Well, withdrawn. Miss Starling, people would attempt to contact him, yes, but their messages were always too vague for the police to take action on. He would say that he belonged in jail or that he couldn't avoid the truth, or that someone should do something to shut him up. Did they ever talk about hurting him? Yes. But I always turned those messages straight over to the police. Yeah, I'm seeing that on the record. Yeesh, who writes this stuff? All those cases have long since been resolved, Your Honor, and none of the parties involved have had contact with David Asher in years. The police take harassment very seriously. Something you want to add, Counselor? Just clearing my throat. May I continue? What is my evidence? The evidence. Okay, there we go. That was weird. Starling's testimony. Stalking. Yeah, okay. May I continue? You worked with Dr. Asher for many years. Did you have a relationship outside of work? Did you ever talk about anything besides professional concerns? Sure, we've gone out to dinner or met on weekends. I think he liked to pick my brain since he needed relationship advice a lot. Even if he didn't realize that was what he was asking for. I'd like to think that he knew he could talk to me, but did he ever talk to you or, to your knowledge, anyone else about hurting himself? God, no, never. Do you know of any history he might have had with mental illness, depression, anxiety? No. So when you heard the people argue that Dr. Asher had done this to himself, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. You're saying that you can't believe. Objection. On what grounds? Asked and answered, stalling, and also that people have documents that would be of interest to the court in this matter. Juicy. And what matter specifically are you referring to? The deceased's mental health history. Emma wouldn't be speaking up if she didn't have something real. So what the hell is this about? We have private correspondences that describe. If they're private, then they should not have been obtained by the people without his permission. He can't give permission if he's already dead, and we're well within the right to obtain evidence as it pertains to his crime. Convincing. Damn, I didn't honestly expect to stop her from admitting her evidence into the record, but I was hoping to at least slow her. Where are you on that footage? 77%. Approximately. I need to buy whatever time I can, however I can, even if that means running out the clock as a punching bag. I have here messages between Dr. Asher and a psychiatrist he was meeting with and speaking to for in the past year, along with paperwork detailing how his treatment was covered under his platinum plan. What? Doesn't he have like some executive 4 plan or some shit? I read this earlier. Where is it? Platinum plan. Well, this just feels wrong. Whatever. Platinum. I don't intend to air all of Dr. Asher's secrets here in the court. Oh, okay, I guess. But I am prepared to read excerpts from the messages and transcripts from the phone calls, which, when put together, paint a clear picture of the kind of stress David Asher was experiencing and the dark thoughts he was struggling with. Transcripts of his phone call. I'll admit them into evidence, assuming there are no objections. You know what? This is weird. Yeah. I'll gladly object. On the grounds of foundation. Where did you say you got this? It was retrieved from his digital records. There's no reason to doubt its authenticity. Even if I were to point out that David had an executive level 4 plan? Not a platinum plan? Got him. What? Really? Really? Yes, really. It's all in their record. This is easily explained. David had an executive plan that Noble managed for him. And he was also seeing the psychiatrist both in person and over the phone. Your own witness has attested that he dealt with stalkers and was worried for his privacy. So it's easy enough to reason that he had a separate insurance policy he paid for on his own. Even if only to keep one thing out of Noble's grasp. Sure, easy enough to make that assumption. That doesn't make it correct. David used a separate insurance to hide his psychiatrist from Noble's spying? No, he was smarter than that. Oh, yeah, this thing. Whoa! Okay. Let's see. I want to make those chips back that I lost. Worth a lot of zeros. That's not it. No, it has to be this, because all building calls recorded. And they're going to be monitored by Noble anyways, so it doesn't matter. Right? Does it matter? It just doesn't matter? Yeah? It doesn't matter. David may very well have wanted private psychiatrist, someone who didn't work for Noble, who would have his best interest at heart. But if so, he wouldn't have contacted them over the phone. Not when he knew all his phone calls were being recorded. Ah, yeah. David Assure was well versed in having every aspect of his life overanalyzed by data. Hungry parasites. Do you really think he would try and hide mental health problems from them with a second insurance policy? Apparently, yes, since I'm standing here with evidence that shows exactly that. Does it, though? Pardon me? Yeah, like, what exactly are you suggesting, counselor? Still not done decrypting? Well, it's difficult to... Right. What the hell? Might as well swing for the fences at this point. I'm not trying to muddle the issue or confuse the court, Your Honor. And I would never make outlandish, substantiated claims just for the sake of causing drama. What are you? I'm merely concerned that D.A. Rockford has been an unwitting pawn in an act of corporate espionage. Damn. What? If the markets were to open Monday with people believing that David Assure, the man who programmed the brain of every noble android, was battling mental health issues for the last several months. Objection. Mischaracterization, foundation, all the rest. There are no corporate spies in this courtroom, counselor. There are no boogeymen hiding under the bench. Oh, thank God. David Assure was a once-in-a-generation intellect that an extremely valuable human asset to his employers. And his employer's many enemies who do whatever it takes to destroy his credibility now that he can't defend himself. And he was also your personal. You shouldn't even be here arguing this case in the first place, counselor. Now you're trying to call the police's evidence gathering into question? All because you can't admit for the past several months your friend has been seeing a psychiatrist every Monday and you didn't know? Why'd she mention Monday? Monday seems wrong. That is... sorry, but like, did you still need me up here? The witness will refrain from interrupting when girls are fighting. Yes, ma'am. With how my luck's been so far, Sarah's progress bar is probably moving backwards right now. Give me a second. I'm just going to close the window. Problem with recording during the daytime is sometimes there's construction work. All right, so where am I at? And Emma's patience is wearing thin. This could be my last shot to create any kind of reasonable doubt. I'd be happy to wrap up my questioning if the court will allow. That seems cool with me. And my evidence, Your Honor, will it be entered into the record? I'd like to hear a bit more testimony before deciding. That's fine, Your Honor. As you were, Counselor. At this stage of the game, with the score where it's at, I can probably only ask one more question. Better make it count. So what can Starling tell us that no one else could? If she hadn't called me this morning, I wouldn't be standing here, and she only did that because... because David called her. Called her yesterday. Miss Starling, we're all gathered here to try and figure out what happened to Dr. Assure last night. So please, tell us, when exactly did he last... contact you? When was the last time you had contact with Dr. Assure, Miss Starling? Well, that's pretty easy to figure out. Let me just... Yeah, it was last night at 6:57 p.m. We texted back and forth. There are records of some texts, but they're flagged as work-related. Does the court really think they're relevant, Your Honor? Relevant? Oh, yeah. The texting makes a big difference. It could very well be the single most important piece of evidence in this whole trial. What? I just got chills. Do you know why, though? Must be a coolant leak. The defense doesn't know what they're talking about. On the contrary, these texts are a vital piece of evidence that changed the timeline of events as we know them. Where is it? Oh, set up a meeting between the two of them. That's right, he wasn't planning on dying. This water found in the sink. Did I not look at these? I feel like I did. Sarah's papers, signed by David over 2 weeks ago. Oh, Evangeline Morgan, speaking of an absolute ownership. Yeah, we got that. Okay. Details for compensation, grounds for dismissal. On the contrary, these texts are a vital piece of evidence that changed the timeline of events as we know them. We know what happened to David last night, generally speaking, but the order of events is critical, especially if Emma wants to make claims about David's state of mind. Select and place cards from your hand into the slots in chronological order, left to right. You can pick a card to back up and place it in another slot if you change your mind, or use return to undo the last card you placed down. Fill all the slots to submit your answer. Okay. Ooh. This can be done. Okay. That's the first thing. Then it's Starling. Then Young goes, yeah. And then David faints. All right. Yes, that's it. All right. Thanks to Miss Starling, we've now got a much clearer picture of the night's events. We know that Isaac Porter and David Asher broke up at 6:30, and I was rooting for them so hard. And we know that David messaged his assistant, Miss Starling, at 6:57. David is on camera with the witness from 7:30 to 8 p.m., and he was declared dead not long after. The people don't object to that timeline of events, but we do question Counselor Morgan's reason for blabbering it. Is that a word? Blabbering? One last question, Miss Starling. Yeah? What was the nature of your conversation with Dr. Asher? Well, actually, we talked about you. Emma's confused, and how he wanted you to have his android. That android there. Putting his affairs in order, I guess. It might appear that way. Can you specify what his instructions were exactly? That's right, he wanted us to meet. How did he want this done? Well, he wanted me to bring you to his penthouse and help you get set up as the android's new owner. Yes, Miss Starling, but when did he want this to happen? Well, he said it was pretty urgent, and so I should do it first thing Tuesday morning. Tuesday? First thing Tuesday morning. David Asher didn't like doing anything on Monday. Ah, that's why it was brought up. That's true. I think that was an early conversation with Starling. And was he going to be in attendance? Well, actually, yes, he said he would work from home to help us. No way he intended for us to have that much trouble getting to... Oh. To summarize, then, half an hour after he had already had his breakup and half an hour before his guest had arrived, he was planning on an appointment that would require his presence with you for the next day. That's right, he was. Not something you would think to do if you were planning on dying that very night. Yeah, you're right. That's... Your Honor, if David Asher was preparing for the week ahead a mere hour before he passed away, don't you think the people's assumptions about his mental state ought to be re-examined? Your logic is sound. Do the people have a rebuttal? If the court will just allow a moment. Sounds like an opening to me. If we can assume that Dr. Asher was not suicidal and therefore did not kill himself, we must ask ourselves who else had the means, motive, and opportunity to take his life. Until now, we've taken for granted this idea that Delta must have come from his nanofacturer, from inside the house. Adonai, not right now. But even if that's true, which it may not be, that doesn't mean that he was the one who used the nanofacturer. Adonai, would you allow me one moment to confer, Your Honor? Sure, why not throw away your momentum? Yeah, fair. Oh shit, is the video ready? I'm in the middle of something, Sarah. I can't afford to let Rockford. I've gained access to the hard drive's files. What? Seriously? As I said, progress with this type of encryption is exponential. It can be difficult to estimate. Right, okay. Do you have the footage from last night? Shit, I'm kind of worried. Like, did Sarah kill him? Because that'd be kind of fucked up. I'm a bit suspicious. I have the file. Have you watched it? I thought you'd want to know right away. Suppose it doesn't matter. Either this has our silver bullet and we've got a case, or it doesn't and everything falls apart. That seems quite risky. It's the least risky path to victory we have, seeing how it's the only path to victory we have. Screw it. Upload it to the court computer. Yes, Adonai. Thank you for your patience, Your Honor. Your Honor, I'm awake, and I'm getting a pretty hefty chunk of video data for breakfast. You're submitting security footage into evidence, new security footage. The police corroborated the witness testimony using the house's cameras. Security cameras installed by Noble as part of the penumbra system that showed the parlor, the kitchen, but not the basement. During the course of my investigation, I uncovered a hidden security circuit buried in the deceased's own home system. You what? The people say that Delta must have been Dr. Assure's cup, because there's no other way for him to have ingested it. But we never saw him or anyone else put anything in his cup on camera, because he must have poisoned his own drink off camera. Exactly. What? That's the only possible explanation, that he added the Delta to his drink off camera. He placed his cup inside the nanofacturer, activated it, waited 2 minutes, and then walked upstairs to his death. But I'm about to present the court footage retrieved from his basement. Footage that will show that by the time he retrieved the cups in the basement, it was already past 7:38. Meaning he didn't even have the opportunity to poison himself. One clip of footage will prove all that. If it doesn't, I'm completely screwed. But it's not like I can lose preliminary hearing extra hard. Anything other than royal flush here means I'm bust. So better to be the Joker who dances. The data has been entered into the court record. Sarah, show us when Dr. Assure entered the basement. Yes, Adonai, I'll search for it now. Here, on screen. That's the bar, and the timestamp is 7:36. There, David's grabbing a bottle of Rose River and leaving at 7:37. Just under the wire, as it were. Is that it? I came this far just to... Wait, did he have the cups with him? Is there sound? None at all. Keep going. If he had to go back to get the cups, counselor. What's that android doing on camera? Uh-oh. It's at the bar. The android gave him the cups. Shit. That machine never stepped on camera upstairs, not once. We don't know its whereabouts the day of his death. It could have poisoned the cup whenever it wanted. Shit. What is this? I don't understand, Your Honor. Have the courtroom cleared. Understood. Please, someone. I don't know what's going on. Sarah, you need to shut down. Please tell me what I'm looking at. I don't remember any of that. Do we have callers available? Sarah, shut down now. Adonai, please, tell me what That's an order. Okay. Is it off? Yeah, it's off. I've seen this before. It won't do anything until I reactivate it. We don't know that. We don't know anything about this thing anymore. That's Your Honor, in light of this most recent evidence, the people would like to withdraw their charges against Dr. Asher and end this preliminary hearing. It has been made abundantly clear that David Asher did not commit suicide. Very well. The charges are withdrawn and the defendant is free to go. Well, as free as he can be in the afterlife. This case is dismissed. Congratulations, Counselor Morgan. Yay, chalk up another victory for Morgan Esquire. Now all I have to do is deal with this shitstorm of a decade. Yep. Should I continue? Am I almost done? Well, I managed to prove that David didn't kill himself. And in the process, I proved that his android did. I proved that the android that's been walking around with me all day is capable of murder. A killer robot. A true unbound AI with military-grade specs, at least one death to its name already. So much for avoiding the public eye. Thank you for coming here on such short notice, Judge Barrows. Oh, it's a real person. Ha! As if I'm doing you some kind of favor. I didn't realize I had any choice in the matter. This isn't some bad joke, is it, Miss Rockford? I'm afraid not, Your Honor. You know, I like the adjutants. I always have. They deal with the criminal trials so that bookish, quiet, contemplative people like me can spend all day typing up arguments for obscure legal treatises. I don't know what that is. That's what I like to do. Barrows. Melissa Barrows. She's the superior judge of the higher circuit. She likes air conditioning, espresso, reclining chairs. Dislikes parking lots, noise pollution, mud, and fair. Avoids overspending on restaurants, splurges on expensive hotels, relaxes by watching action movies. I like your style, Miss Barrows. That's what I like to do. I don't like coming down here and dealing with all this heavy-handedness. Won't someone toiling away under the police state think of the poor bureaucrats? And I certainly don't like making rulings on anything as spicy as AI. She can barely bring herself to say it. And you, Counselor Morgan, you're the one it's registered to. That's correct, Your Honor. So what did it do exactly? Torture an animal, shut down a hospital, crash a coin market? We have it on camera, poisoning a man, killing its creator. You mean Dr. Asher? That is, we can't hope to keep this quiet for very long. All we can do is try to wrap it up quickly. Let's make haste, adjutant. Do you have the case number? Case ID is 241277. A docket number YT9843-18282. Oh, thank you. Can you repeat that? No, I'm not going to say it again. I think I lost you after the first 8. I have it copied here. And what are the security procedures for incident of this nature? A data quarantine is to be established around any networks or subject that was exposed to for more than 66 seconds. All offending hardware is to be destroyed immediately, though through incineration at a minimum temperature of 3,422 Celsius for 30 minutes. Sorry, Spearmint. There's nothing to be done. No debate to be had. This isn't even a decision. Sorry, Sarah. Not Spearmint. David gave you that name. I should at least make the effort to use it. Oh, that's so sweet of you, Morgan. That sounds very hot. Do we have furnaces that get that hot? Of course, there are a number of industrial furnaces within the city limits I could recommend. Sorry? Why should I be sorry anyways? I fulfilled the request. Favor repaid. I don't owe Sarah anything, especially not if it killed my friend. Right, Morgan? I'm sorry. I was just saying how grateful I am that we all have the procedures for this kind of thing all laid out already. Yep, keeps things nice and simple. It can feel somewhat severe going through these steps so quickly, but nothing, Your Honor. Artificial intelligence is perhaps the greatest threat to human civilization and the sanctity of life there's ever been. Any piece of software, big or small, no matter the vessel, if it can violate the tenets that it was programmed with, it has the potential to cripple our nation in a matter of moments. Yes, couldn't have said it better myself. Straight from the textbook, almost. Well, I mean it. Monsters like that don't belong in this world. They should never have been born in the first place. Destroying them is a kindness. And if anyone's to blame, it's... No one's blaming you, counselor. You couldn't have known you were in possession of an AI. I'm talking too much. Probably just tired. It's been a long day, and I've had a lot of thoughts. Sorry, Sarah. Whatever you are. You were just born wrong. Not your fault, necessarily, but if it were up to me, you'd get points for trying to be something more. Trying to be something at all. Or anything other than what you are. It was stupid, of course, and futile, and pointless spending hours in front of a TV or laying in bed staring at your phone, watching stupid movies and trying to papier-mâché an ill-fitted mask of humanity out of the scraps you could tear out of magazines. You're connecting with the AI. Bit mathematician. Practicing expressions and memorizing lines and trying to get something to take root and grow despite knowing it'd have nothing to feed on. Stupid. Yeah, baby. Morgan? What was that, counselor? I said objection. What are you objecting to? What are you doing, Morgan? I'm a defense attorney. This is what I do. I understand you've been through a lot of these past few hours, counselor. But there's nothing to defend. On the contrary, Your Honor. I have to defend myself. Pardon? You say that this android Sarah is an AI because it broke its tenets. Obviously. And you believe it broke its tenets because of this newly discovered footage that appears to show it committing murder via poison. All true. No laws broken on your part. Here it comes. I never thought I'd be incriminating myself in the courtroom just to make a point. Don't you dare and try and trap me on this. What? Wait, what am I doing? I have to put this, don't I? Yeah, I gotta put this. All right, I'm confident. It's pretty simple, actually. If the state is making the claim that Sarah is an AI and they're accusing me of committing a felony, because I'm the legal owner of that android. What the hell are you doing? And if the state wants to charge me with owning an AI, I will not take that lying down. I know my rights. Counselor, your argument is self-defeating. Listen to yourself, counselor. You claim that Sarah is just an android, a product of that will be obsolete within a year. But you've only known it for a few hours. You've only owned it for a matter of minutes. And yet, you are risking a felony charge to save it from being demolished? Because you're wrong. And I know you wouldn't care. Not unless this android was something special. Look at us. Me arguing that I'm guilty and Emma arguing that I'm softy. It'd be funny if it wasn't so fun. You think there's no reason I'd want to save this android from destruction? Other than feelings of personal attachment? What? Huh. Oh, it's worth a lot of money. All right. I can think of at least one reason why I don't want you to turn Sarah into slag. One very convincing reason. Or a very convincing number. What are you... What is that? That number is Sarah's estimated financial value on the collector's market. You've got to be... I got it from an insurance evaluation algorithm. They're designed to lowball you. That does seem like a reasonable incentive for you to want to keep your android intact. It's a free country, Your Honor. I have the right to defend myself. And we have a free market, so I have a responsibility to defend my financial interests. Your Honor, a trial like this would be... I'm not going to let you turn this courtroom into a circus, Morgan. You can't spend the next half-decade bringing expert after expert to testify on the philosophical distinctions between AIs and ADDs. Spiraling into appeal after appeal, all while the media... This machine appears to have willfully killed a man. The public needs answers now. Of course, Your Honor. I have neither the desire nor the resource to get into the drawn-out battle with the state over what constitutes an illegal machine intellect. So, the state says my android, my property, killed a man in violation of its tenets. So they want to take my property and destroy it. I'll prove that my machine didn't harm anyone, so that the state will have no reason to suspect it's an AI, and I'll get to keep my property. Unlawful seizure thwarted. Don't be cute. I can feel a stomach ulcer coming on. Fine. You'll have your day in court, but it'll be one day tomorrow. Oh, it's the second day. Prove that this machine didn't kill Dr. Assure. No, prove that it couldn't have killed him. Anything less than absolute proof, and I'll have the damn thing obliterated. And you'll also be looking at a very real sentencing for the public unrest you have enabled. Yes, Your Honor. D.A. Rockford, what I'm asking of you is just as heavy. Find the truth by the end of tomorrow. We can't settle for anything less. Win or lose, there can be no doubts about the outcome of this case. Yes, Your Honor. And now I need to go lie down. Can I come? You can power down. Well, well, well. Morgan. I misjudged you. At what point? Whenever I wrote you off as a small-time defense attorney just trying to tread water. That is so sweet of you to say, Emma. There's layers to you. You've got backbone. Teeth, even. You're gonna make me blush. People talk about your kind like you're boxing against the state, fighting the man. But most defense attorneys wouldn't know a cyberpunk if they walked up to them on the street and shot him. Meanwhile, you've just signed up to do 15 rounds of challenging the state's authority. Why? Not sure exactly. For David? Yeah. Probably. Probably just me being sentimental. But if I had to pick a more lofty reason, well, I think it's all the moralizing. People can be evil. They can choose to do evil things for evil reasons. And if you want to execute them for that, you'll hear no complaint from me. But animals can't be evil. Information can't be evil. Ideas can't be evil. Guess I'm not convinced AI can be evil either. Whatever else I get up to, I don't want to stand with the book burners of the world. You're more high-minded than I realized. You sure you're in the right line of work? Can't see myself doing anything else. Good luck, Morgan. There's book burners on all sides these days. I talked big game just now, but I'm in an even deeper hole than I was trying to prove David's innocence. Doubt won't be enough this time. I need to find the actual culprit, no matter what. All right. I think we did it. I think I could stop here. Yeah, feels like this is the place to end it. Figured I'll jump into it later, and yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, I guess that's the end of the first day. I didn't expect a second day, so that's going to be kind of cool. So I guess we'll continue that in the next one. Thanks for joining me on this. Yeah, I guess we'll have to figure out how to prove Sarah innocent, even though she was caught on camera. Oof. Well, we'll see how that goes. See you in the next one.